Working for you.
Stock scam. Massive fraud on Wall Street. Millions of Americans ripped off. Tonight, the feds move in on the mob.
We also have
Breakthrough. A historic deal between North and South Korea. Can the man the U.S. calls a terrorist now be trusted? In depth. Long, hot summer. Wildfires out of control. America's power system already on overload. And it's only the beginning. And seeing red. It's not your imagination. Red lights really are longer these days and sometimes more dangerous.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. Organized crime in Wall Street. Federal authorities are saying tonight they have cracked what is probably the largest security scam ever. A wholesale roundup of suspects in New York and a dozen other states today. And among those arrested, according to law enforcement officials, members of all 5 organized crime families in New York City. Before this dragnet is completed, more than 100 people are expected to be arrested. Here's NBC's Pete Williams.
As the opening bell sounds on Wall Street today, a battalion of FBI agents, more than 600, sweeps through the New York City area, making over 100 arrests, helped by New York police detectives whose own pension fund was victimized. In all, one of the biggest one-day busts in New York history, aimed at a huge plan to cheat investors, many of them senior citizens.
Often the victims of these schemes received unsolicited cold calls from the defendant brokers offering a can't-lose, low-risk, high-yield investment opportunity.
At the center of the fraud ring, prosecutors say, this New York investment house controlled, they say, by the Bonanno and Colombo mafia families. Investigators say the firm would drive up the price of stock with false claims and bribe outside brokers, threatening them with violence if they wouldn't play along.
it was truly an investment bank to the crooked and the corrupt. DMN was fraud central for the racketeering enterprise.
That firm, DMN Capital, was also bugged by the FBI. Agents recorded over 1,000 hours of conversations just since last December. Federal agents say the scheme was wide-ranging. Among those arrested today, executives of a fast food chain accused of driving up the price of their stock by bribing brokers. Federal securities agents also stopped trading in some stocks considered part of the scheme, including a company called Whamex, an online brokerage. Fraudulent trading, prosecutors say, drove up its stock price by more than 10 times in 3 months. In all, federal agents say the scheme involves publicly traded stock of 19 companies and private securities in 16 more. And a former federal securities regulator says despite today's crackdown, organized crime will never leave the stock market because in a hot economy, that's where the money is.
They rely on the greed of people. They rely upon the hopes of people that they're going to make money, at least in today's environment, very quickly, and a lot of it.
And the FBI says when mafia bosses are involved, they move the market with more than just money, using violence and threats of murder. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
As for what happened on Wall Street today, it was a mixed day for stocks. The Dow was up more than 66 points on reassuring inflation reports. NASDAQ, however, lost almost 54 points with technology leaders Intel and Qualcomm leading the way down. And in the two Koreas tonight, North and South, the first real hope in more than 50 years that one day they may be reunited. That is the optimistic scenario that grows out of the historic summit meeting between the leaders of the divided peninsula, one democratic and prosperous, the other hardcore communist and desperately poor. More now from NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
North Korea's reclusive leader, Kim Jong-il, for years viewed by the U.S. as a terrorist, even a madman, with missiles that could reach Alaska. Today jokes with his South Korean counterpart. He says, "Some Europeans say I live like a hermit, but since you have visited me, I am open to the world." And to the amazement of U.S. officials, this summit seems to produce real results. An historic agreement to work toward reconciliation. Visits for tens of thousands of families separated for 50 years since the Korean War. Economic and cultural exchanges. A return visit by Kim Jong-il to the South, and eventually reunification.
There's no reason to question his sincerity, I don't think, on this issue. It's a straightforward deal. He makes a concession on divided families, and South Korea provides North Korea with even more economic assistance.
It's just the first step, but it's clearly a move in the right direction.
Why is Kim Jong-il reaching out? North Korea is desperate, near collapse, politically and economically isolated. Its latest famine, now in its 5th year, claims more than 2 million deaths. The North cannot survive without help from the prosperous South. But the question for the U.S., will Kim Jong-il use billions in aid to feed his people or build more missiles?
I don't know that we can just be certain in those terms that the money's going to be spent on food.
The first sign Kim might be serious about opening his country, his visit to Beijing 2 weeks ago. He tells the Chinese he wants to model his economy on theirs. Then his surprising performance at this week's summit. Is it a real change or just smart public relations? After all, this is a man known for his womanizing, for strange emotional outbursts, bizarre behavior. So afraid of flying, he has to be the only world leader who's never flown on a plane. But now U.S. officials are backpedaling fast, no longer calling Kim Jong-il weird and frightening, now accepting that he may be serious about reconciliation. The bottom line for 37,000 Americans stationed along the Korean border: can the West trust North Korea's leader to end the last battle of the Cold War? Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
And while those encouraging signs were coming out of Korea, there are new concerns tonight coming out of Moscow. One of Russia's most powerful media bosses is under arrest and in prison. The government claims it's embezzlement, but others think it's a new crackdown on free speech, maybe the beginning of a return to the bad old days. Here's NBC's Dana Lewis in Moscow tonight.
In Russia tonight, a symbol of free speech under arrest. The country's independent television network, NTV, headlines its evening newscast with what it calls the scandalous arrest of its owner, tycoon Vladimir Gusinsky. Now in jail for what the state prosecutor claims is an embezzlement scheme costing the state millions. Gusinsky's lawyers say the charges against their client, politically motivated, a return to a police state in Russia. Gusinsky's media empire, Media Most TV, radio, and newspapers dared to criticize the Kremlin and new President Vladimir Putin over issues like the Chechen War and corruption. Journalists say President Putin is behind the arrest.
It is clear that President Putin is sending a message. Those people who are in his way, those corporations, those media, those forces are in danger, and they should beware.
Just last month, masked federal police raided Media Most offices, Gusinsky calling it an act of intimidation. 2 weeks ago in Moscow for a summit, President Clinton not only raised the issue of free speech with Russia's president, he made a point of appearing on a Media Most radio call-in show. Today, President Clinton voiced concern about Gusinsky's arrest.
I do not believe people should be arrested solely because of what they say in exercising their role as members of the press.
In Spain, President Putin first says he doesn't know about the arrest, then denies it was a political act. Leading reformers say Putin, a former KGB agent, is using old Soviet tactics in a new Russia.
He strongly believes in market economy, but he doesn't believe in democracy.
The prosecutor has 10 days to bring formal charges against Vladimir Gusinsky. Tonight, the U.S. government is pressing for details on whether this is really a case of embezzlement or a Kremlin move to muzzle free speech. Dana Lewis, NBC News, Moscow.
Still ahead tonight, going nowhere. Those endless red lights, it just keeps on getting worse.
I would say the most frustrating part is in the mornings when you're in a hurry, rush hour, and you're sitting.
Seeing red, those red traffic lights really are lasting longer. In depth tonight, a long hot summer ahead, fires in the west, and everywhere worries about power. Will the electricity be there when you need it?
Masterson. ID check, sir.
With 63 personalized features, it's the luxury sports sedan that recognizes you.
We're clear, sir.
The 2000 Bonneville SSEI. Luxury with attitude. By Pontiac.
The best laid plans begin with DuPont Stainmaster Carpet. Because only Stainmaster has the advanced Teflon repel system, so incriminating evidence won't stick.
I'm here to demonstrate how Whiskas' new savory nuggets with crispy outsides and soft centers compare to the typical dry cat food. Observe the difference at impact. Now ours. Trying this again.
These cats are totally ruining the experiment.
New Whiskas with savory nuggets. What cats want.
Why so many days-in hotels near airports? So you don't have to worry about where to stay, no matter where you touch down. Days In. There you go.
3 minutes from now, a heart attack victim will be rushed into this emergency room. Medication will be injected. IV fluids will be needed. The patient will be protected from infection. Breathing will be assisted. And one more life will be saved.
Mrs. Hanson? Yes. Hi, I'm Dr. Moore. Her husband's doing fine. Oh, I'm so glad.
Thanks to advanced medical techniques and a material we call plastic.
Dateline Wednesday, Survivor, the original series. This is no game show. A wall of rushing water.
Get out! Get out!
A man dangling from Seattle's Space Needle. Treacherous winds on a frozen mountain.
Could they rescue you? No way. They would have died trying.
If you beat the odds, the prize is your life. The Dateline Survivor Hour, tonight on NBC.
NBC News in depth tonight. Up in flames. More fires adding to an already dangerous fire season. Officials say it's shaping up to be the worst in 4 years. Right now, the biggest battles are being fought in Colorado. 2 fires burning north and south of Denver in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. NBC's Roger O'Neill is on the scene and begins our in-depth reporting tonight.
Today, in morning's calm progress, but it could be short-lived. A break in the weather, less wind, less heat, a small window of opportunity for airplanes to drop slurry, fire retardant in Colorado's Tinder Dry Forest, and for ground crews to start clearing land, building fire breaks in front of advancing flames. 650 firefighters on the front lines today, with fires burning in New Mexico and Florida, the nation's top priority fire here now.
Today is the first opportunity with our additional resources to be able to take the offensive and try to make some progress by getting a containment line construction started.
The 2 fires in Denver's so-called Front Range foothills, but never this close, never this big. Burning for 3 days, one caused by lightning, the other a spark from a campfire. Both still out of control. 10,000 acres already scorched, 35 homes destroyed, hundreds more threatened, 1,000 people evacuated.
The break from hot 90-degree temperatures and strong 50-mile-an-hour gusting winds won't last long. Only today. Tomorrow, more heat, more wind.
Colorado's part of a big swath of western land, 13 states in all, that the U.S. Forest Service is calling high fire danger. Hot, windy weather and very dry conditions contributing to the problem. The forced evacuations have hundreds of residents worrying, wondering what's happening to their homes.
I was watching trees explode.
This resident snuck into the fire zone, took a camera with him, and brought back answers, many happy ones.
We're still standing.
Yeah, that's my house here. Holy cow.
This is great. I'm going to hold on to this picture.
For others, leaving was never a choice. These 2 sisters vowed to stay to protect the family homestead.
We have goats and chickens and all the baby calves, and it's just horrible.
Some residents were allowed to go back to their homes today, but just for a little while, to get pictures, clothes, valuables.
It smells smoky, but it looks good.
Authorities say there's still too much fire in the Colorado mountains to be safe. And with more bad weather in the forecast, tomorrow it's going to get worse. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Denver.
And as the summer heats up, the demand for electricity is soaring already. Officials are worried that there won't be enough power to go around. Today, a heat wave in the San Francisco Bay Area with temperatures unusually high, topping 100 degrees, forced officials to cut power temporarily to some businesses. NBC's George Lewis continues tonight's in-depth reporting.
Triple-digit temperatures today in California. Staying cool, a major concern for many. In Fremont, California, paramedics get ready for a hot summer. They worry about people, especially the elderly, coming down with heat stroke.
Our fire department has increased staffing levels and staffed additional units to take care of any emergency medical incidents that occur in the community.
Forecasters warn of temperatures this summer 10 to 30% above normal in the Southwest, the Midwest, and Florida. One big potential problem, power shortages. The Department of Energy warns that as Americans use more and more air conditioning this summer, there could be widespread power brownouts and blackouts costing billions of dollars a year. Soaring temperatures in the San Francisco Bay Area caused the partial shutdown of service this afternoon to industrial and commercial customers. The agency that runs the state's power grid says there may be more to come this summer.
Yes, we would have to interrupt loads, which other people call brownouts.
Detroit today struggling in the second day of a blackout, not directly caused by hot weather, but by burnt-out transmission lines, dramatizing the lack of reserve power capacity here and elsewhere. Nationwide, in the past decade, power demand went up 35%, while power companies' capacity to get that electricity to users has grown only 18%. A new study by the power industry warns that because of a hot summer and a lack of reserve capacity, there could be blackouts in New England, New York, and the southwestern states of California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada. Phoenix, Arizona, for example, where good economic times drive up energy demand.
We've had a very strong economy here in the Phoenix area. It's growing every year. That means not only people moving to the valley, which are new customers, but new businesses too.
In California's Silicon Valley, one high-tech company, Oracle Corporation, now has its own generating plant and substation to keep the power on. A new trend in American industry as companies cope with the growing power crisis. George Lewis, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Up next, a proposal for Al Gore and George Bush. $1 million for a debate on education.
Now your touch does more to protect your dog or cat from parasites, because today there's Revolution, a better choice in parasite protection. Revolution, better because in just one touch, a single application, it protects against both external parasites like fleas and the deadly internal parasite heartworm. Revolution. It's the medicine that protects against adult fleas and their eggs in just one touch. And unlike other topicals, Revolution is a medicine, not a pesticide. Go ahead, touch, and feel good about the best kind of protection. Revolution is for cats and dogs 6 weeks or older. In less than 1% of cats and dogs, digestive upset was noted. In approximately 1% of cats, temporary hair loss at application site was noted. Use with caution on sick, weak, or underweight animals. Revolution, the only topical that protects against external and internal parasites in just one touch. Ask your veterinarian for it. Revolution, never has one touch protected so much.
We noticed tons of surfers just eating fish tacos on the docks.
So we created just a menu based on food that we like.
Kind of like surf food as opposed to Mexican food.
Now that we're growing, the need for the financial partner was real important. Finding somebody who could help us to fulfill our dreams down the road. That's where Merrill Lynch has stepped up.
They were willing to take a chance with us. They saw past the shorts and t-shirts. Oh, we're still keeping to the core. We're still surfing
in the groove.
It was terrible. With my overactive bladder, having to go so frequently, needing to go suddenly, and that time, I had to run to the bathroom. That did it. I asked my doctor about Detrol.
If you live with any of these symptoms, strong, sudden urges to go, going frequently, wedding accidents, you may have overactive bladder, a medical condition. Prescription Detrol effectively treats overactive bladder. Detrol helps control bladder contractions that cause those strong, sudden urges. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Detrol. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Some others may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion. Overactive bladder is a treatable medical condition, so don't wait. Ask your doctor today about Detrol, the #1 brand prescribed by doctors for overactive bladder.
Glad I asked my doctor about Detrol.
Tomorrow on Today, if a man puts his family first, what happens to his career, his marriage, and his children? What would it mean to your family? Tomorrow on Today.
Wildfires, who will be there to fight them? NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
This country's largest Protestant denomination, the Southern Baptist Convention, voted today to deny women the right to serve as pastors. The directive came in a non-binding statement of faith, so it's not clear what the impact will be, but some members said moderate congregations, about 100 of which currently have women pastors, may withdraw from the Southern Baptist Convention altogether. Now to presidential politics, and a big dollar proposal to the Bush and Gore campaigns aimed at drawing attention to the issue of education. At the same time, raising questions about how and when the candidates will face off in head-to-head debates. More from NBC's Lisa Myers tonight.
Billionaire financier Ted Forsman, accusing both Bush and Gore of promoting pedestrian solutions to an education crisis, today offers the two candidates $500,000 each for their favorite charities, if they agree to debate education for 90 minutes.
I'm giving these two an opportunity in just 90 minutes to raise money for others, to engage in a debate on the most important challenge facing our country today, and to do a good turn for disadvantaged children as well.
Gore immediately embraces the idea, but not the money.
Nobody has to give money to get me to debate. I'm ready to debate. I want to debate twice a week, and I'm anxious to have as many debates as possible. If you want to sponsor a debate, I'll do it tomorrow.
But Bush rejects the offer. A spokesman says he'll definitely debate Gore at some point, but that Forsman should use his money to help children trapped in bad schools. Bush has suggested he's unlikely to debate until fall, as is traditional.
There's going to be ample time to debate. The best time to debate is when people are paying attention.
But this year, the normal rhythms of the political calendar are interrupted. Soon after the traditional Labor Day campaign kickoff comes the Olympics for almost 3 weeks. Then there is a brief window in which a bipartisan debate commission has scheduled 3 presidential debates, immediately followed by the World Series, which doesn't end until 9 days before the election. Gore wants a debate before voters get distracted by the Olympics to try to shake up the race. Why?
Gore is known as a smart, strong debater. There are a lot of questions about Bush's ability, his competence, and his intelligence.
Bush advisors want to limit his exposure, but know that he, like Ronald Reagan in 1980, needs to reassure swing voters who like him but have questions.
I don't think people are looking for a Washington or a Jefferson or a Lincoln, but is he big enough for the job? Is he smart enough? And you know, my guess, I mean, is he competent?
Tonight, Bush advisors say they've not totally ruled out early debates. The Gore camp claims to be supremely confident that when debates finally happen, their candidate will prevail. Not necessarily on charm, but on maturity and experience. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
And in a moment, it's not your imagination, red lights are longer. Why? I'll be right back.
You get 1 minute every morning. 1 minute when the day is fresh and full of possibility. 1 minute to help keep your body strong and feeling like a kid. New calcium-enriched Minute Maid Home Squeeze style. Full of ripe, juicy bits bursting with the taste of morning. Minute Maid Home Squeezed. Calcium-enriched to squeeze the day.
When your eyes feel dry, gritty, irritated, protect them with Refresh brand eye drops. First, Refresh relieves dryness. Then Refresh forms a lasting shield of protection that keeps irritation out and moisture in. Refresh. It relieves and protects.
My dad and I are pretty close. One day last year, his arthritis was acting up, so he took some Bayer. It has all the strength of prescription Tylenol. It relieved his pain. The next day, he suffered a heart attack. Incredibly, the doctor said Bayer not only relieved his arthritis pain, but aspirin helped save his life. Knowing all that Bayer can do, why would anyone take any other pain reliever again?
Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more.
Masterson.
ID check, sir.
With 63 personalized features, it's the luxury sports sedan that recognizes you.
You're clear, sir.
It
2000 Bonneville SSEI. Luxury with attitude. By Pontiac.
Why so many days-in hotels for the business traveler? So you don't have to figure out where to stay when you're wheeling and dealing and working on the fly. Days in. There you go.
The best laid plans begin with DuPont Stainmaster Carpet. Because only DuPont Stainmaster has the advanced Teflon repel system, so incriminating evidence won't stick. Backed and warranted by DuPont.
Just ahead at 6, sweltering heat and lack of rain could spell disaster for your yard. Find out if we'll have a ban on watering and if tonight's forecast might help. Plus, Tennessee's budget battle continues. We'll look at what will happen if the state legislature can't come up with an acceptable budget. The scene at 6 is minutes away.
It is not your imagination. Red lights are staying red longer. The idea was to make the more crowded roads safer. But does that theory hold up? Well, tonight, in collaboration with the Wall Street Journal, the growing evidence that longer red lights mean more danger. Here's NBC's Ann Thompson.
Got a minute? You'll spend more than 3 of them waiting for the light to change at this intersection outside Washington, D.C.
I work for a company right nearby here, so yes, I'm stuck quite often at this light, and it is very long.
How long? So long, we don't have enough time to show you, so we'll just speed things up. We clocked this light at a whopping 3 minutes 42 seconds, one of the longest in the country, part of a growing trend making motorists see red.
You're cursing the light.
In the 1970s, drivers typically waited 45 seconds for the light to change. By 1999, the government says that number doubled to 90 seconds. Why the increase? More cars driving on bigger roads with more lanes, slowing things down. But experts say longer isn't necessarily better.
We know that if a light cycle is too long, there's almost an inducement to run it,
increasing the risk of accidents. And then there's the matter of driver distraction. We found drivers killing time eating, catching up on paperwork, even doing a little catalog shopping, waiting for the light to change. One solution, a system known in the industry as all res. This is how it works. A couple of seconds are added to the light cycle so that all the lights turn red at once, giving the traffic time to clear.
Now, obviously, it's a move in the direction of safety, but there are those who worry about its effect on capacity and efficiency.
And that is Jarris White's job.
It's backed up over the bridge.
The former defensive back who intercepted passes for the Washington Redskins now intercepts problems as signal system manager for Northern Virginia, tracking traffic patterns in the field and monitoring some 900 intersections by computer.
What we're trying to do is figure out how many more cars can we get through the intersection.
His biggest problem, the Fairfax County Fair Lakes intersection. 28 lanes of traffic, 4,000 vehicles an hour. This week, White cut the waiting time by some 30 seconds.
In the past, you might have been late to pick your child up for daycare, which might have cost you $15. This might save you that $15.
Time means money. One reason why drivers across the country are happy to give shorter waits, the green light. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Washington.
That's nightly news for this Wednesday night. Don't forget Dateline tonight. I'm Tom Brokaw, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
They were expecting a good meal at a nice restaurant. Instead, diners got the scare of their lives. We'll have the details right now on The Scene at 6.
What happens if the state government runs out of money at the end of this month? I'm Jim Travis. The story coming up.
And a mysterious illness is striking house cats in parts of Middle Tennessee, and it can be fatal. Tonight, find out how you can keep your beloved pets safe from harm. And Bill Hall shows us what we can expect as a storm system moves across Middle Tennessee. The Scene at 6 is right now.
You're watching Channel 4 News with Dan Miller and Demetria Galadimos, Bill Hall, and Rudy Kalis.
The restaurants that we believe he is responsible for robbing are of ethnic origin, are of Japanese, Asian, or Italian cuisine.
Last night's attack on an